I'd like to invite 2 or 3 collaborators, whoever's up for it, to come and sit with me for a couple of minutes and just talk about their experience of how they got involved with the community, and importantly, what are you getting from being part of the community. So, collaborators who'd like to join me? Baiju, Jackie, and one more, and Stuart, please. Baiju, come up and join. Please, can we acknowledge Baiju? So this is Baiju Solanki, long-time friend, fellow collaborator. Okay, so Baiju was, for me, was someone that I was talking about BeCollaboration before it was called BeCollaboration. This idea of putting great people in a room and sharing our knowledge, sharing our skills and understanding, contributing to each other, but also you can't just contribute to everybody. Some of that comes around and you get some of the value. And one metaphor we've used from day one is this idea of, if we were going to have a great picnic, what would be your best dish? What would you bring? And if you put all the great dishes down on a blanket, we all take a bit of each other's knowledge and understanding and insight, what could we create? And
Javelin.
Yeah, the original name. No, it was the code name. Javelin was BeCollaboration originally. So Baiju.
Okay.
So you're from the Javelin
There
era.
were 6 yours there.
I don't think I've said such little in a meeting for a long time. So what was your original experience? What was you hearing in the early days, and how does that look now?
So we met way before. I met Gill through the old sort of BNI bits and pieces, and I met you before. So, but then the 3 of us met at another course, and you were talking about this thing. And I remember you had the office in where? I came to the office and you got the flip chart out and you started doing those lines and what you're going to do. And I went, so it's just like a yellow pages, isn't it? You'll get everybody together and demonstrate their skills. And so and my initial thing is, yeah, that is really good, but it can't work because people are too selfish. Try and you want to get everybody in the room and say, look, and share your ideas and be open to it, and then we can all join forces. And I thought it's a great idea, but I'm not sure how it's going to work. So that was my initial thing. So it was like, it's one of these things whereby people have lots of ideas and you think, yeah, it'll be all right. But then you kept on talking about it. Kept on talking about it. And then Gill was, then you said to me, someone else is sort of part of the equation. I said, who's that? He said, Gill. I said, Gill. I said, I know Gill.
Gill Tiney?
Well, she said, yeah. What? Does she know you? Because I don't know you.
I've got a phone number and now she can't escape.
Yeah. And then, and then Gill was part of the equation. I said, okay, great. And then it sort of, I was coaching, you were doing some coaching, so was Gill with there. And then I remember, then you started saying, well, we're going to have a meeting and call some people. And then you came out with that vision. And I remember the one word in that vision statement was velocity. We're going to create a velocity in this. And the one thing I remember is that you didn't deviate from the original premise, because people did come and go. They've gone. Some have come back, but they've gone. But because they didn't get it. But you didn't. You were like, yeah, okay, if they don't get it. You weren't like, oh, we need to change something. Because if they don't get it, we must change, pivot, so they come back. But you were, no, they don't get it.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember someone came to an early meeting. They came back a couple of years later. And obviously the room was bigger, there was more of a buzz, and he said to me, this vision and mission, you've really changed it, it looks much better, it's more vibrant, it communicates better. I said, I've changed one thing, just one thing. I added one core value called human being first. Other than that, it's exactly as it was written.
This is the first banner.
Yeah, that's the first
banner. So it's still relevant, it's not like it's pivoted, it's changed, the words change. And that inspiring collective action in business, original business. Now you could maybe you could drop business. The only thing you probably could drop from that banner in terms of the original premise.
So let's fast forward your journey. How has BeCollaboration as a community? Because one of the things that Gill and I have been really mindful about is this isn't about me and Gill. Have you kind of worked that out yet? Anyone? Yeah?
It's not about
us.
It's not about Erkan.
It's about the community. It's about what we're doing as a community for each other, how we support. So what have you, I'd like to first ask, what have you got from the community?
Well, just a bit that it can't work if it was about you and Gill, it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't.
So it's predicated on the fact that it has to be about the whole community. But for me, like I say, I always say I was there at foreplay, not conception, at foreplay, when BeCollaboration was, touching each other and looking all the fiddling. Well, it's not always fiddling, but
That's and what foreplay is. It's fiddling.
Oh, is it? No. And then. So what it did for me is it's like permission. I can be who I want. So was I like BeCollaboration? No, but it gave me permission to be who I wanted, which allowed me to grow my business and create my vision and do what I wanted to do. And I keep coming back to them. I do. I think I've come to a lot of meetings. Even I'm driving. Where am I going? I do. Where am I going? And it's in the diary.
How many miles you done in your car now?
I didn't know half it existed before BeColl started, but. It gave me permission to be me, and then some of I ran an event called Want to Be an Entrepreneur First. Want to Be, I think you mentioned it in the book, didn't you, Gill? There was quite a few collaborators there, and I know the Want to Be would not have been wouldn't be as big as it could have been, as it was. Sorry, if it wasn't for the community, because it gave me an access to people that I didn't have to justify or explain my mindset or my way of thinking. It was like, yeah, we'll get it because we're part of this, because we understand BeColl. So it was an automatic in.
So kind of on the level one, it allowed you to be who you chose to be, then practice that within a community.
Yeah.
But then it also allowed you to create projects and opportunities that were supported and fueled or backed by.
Yeah, massively. And it's still going now. My On Spirit vision is very aligned. Sort of dovetails with BeColl, and there's going to be massive projects, and that came about as a result of the initial conversation of BeColl, what I wanted to create, how Want to Be has developed, and you just
by the way, Want to Be, for those of you who don't know, is a fantastic event designed for school leaving age youngsters who are being introduced to the concept of entrepreneurship, and Baiju brings lots of different speakers and exposes them to that kind of information and thinking they wouldn't readily get access to.
Yeah. 300-400 kids in a room.
So one last question, because I want to do. I've got 2 more to do. I'm getting there. Hey, get on with it. What do you feel you've contributed for yourself? Because this is where people get confused. A lot of the time we go to events, we go to meetings to get something from them. A very strong part of the ethos of BeCollaboration is what you give as well. What are you contributing to the picnic?
Well, I do a lot of speaking, go to a lot of events. One thing I think I contribute is I test ideas as well. Come in there, I'll talk about different things, and I'm not scared to say what I feel and say what I do. And there's times where, even though we've got a similar approach to this community, you're going to get clashes. And we've had, in any other community, we wouldn't be talking now. The amount of fallouts I've had, but it's not about that. It's because there's a higher thing than that initial interaction, and you stay close to each other.
I guess that's high challenge, because if you're doing your normal thing and someone says, "Hold on a minute," they're stopping you in your tracks. Gives you an opportunity to actually reflect on that way of behaving or that way of being that would not normally get challenged. And in that moment, you've got an opportunity to transform it. Going back to the conversation.
And if you think about a lot of people that probably have come into the BeColl community and no longer here, a high percentage is they've been challenged their way of thinking or way of working, and then they say, "Oh no, that's not for me," as opposed to, "Well, what could it be?" So yeah.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stuart. Thank you. So let's welcome Stuart Swindell, ladies and gentlemen. I'll keep this short and sweet. Stuart, thank you. So what, you're a couple of years in now? 2.5 years maybe?
Yeah.
2.5 years.
And that's how.
So when you first turned up at BeCollaboration, because you can only get to a BeCollaboration meeting if someone invites you, pretty much, because
Yes.
you don't outwardly mark it in a traditional sense. So what was it that got you to one of our meetings? Can you just...
I think Gill's persistence, in one sense of saying you really need to come along, but the persistence in the sense of she saw something in me that she knew it would be right for me, and she was right.
She usually is, isn't she, Al? Alan? Yeah. Always. Yeah. And what did you see when you came to your first meeting? You know.
Well, look, I think the thing is now, upon reflection now, that absolutely it's the shared values of how I see the world, and you mentioned earlier that there has to be something more. You know, I do a lot of business networking, which is great, and there's a place and purpose for that, but it wasn't enough for me. And there was something about sharing, the ability to share yourself with others in a space where you weren't judged, and the ability to verbalise. And I think, you know, part of that process of verbalising is hugely rewarding to yourself and to others, because it gets it out there. It's not stuck in your head. And the ability to do that, for me, in a non-judgmental space, was pretty huge. I feel that in that conversation in a collaboration meeting, I probably only ever had that level of conversation perhaps a few times a year with some very special friends that I shared the similar values to. And the ability to do that with people that you don't know when you first turn up, I mean, that's pretty huge, to have that level of conversation. I describe other conversations as perhaps surface conversations that, you know, they're pretty boring sometimes. So I think that non-judgmental space, the ability to share, is huge.
For me, what I notice in what you're saying is the community gives each other the space to grow, explore, to test ideas. You know, quite often a collaborator will do a talk or present information they've never shared anywhere, and the collaborators support that. They nurture. It's like putting those ideas in fertile ground and get the feedback, sometimes uncomfortable feedback, but nurturing, contributory feedback. Yeah. So if people are watching this in the years to come, or those in the audience there, what would you say to them about being part of what do you get of being part of the community beyond that for yourself? What do you take away?
Well, I think it's a brilliant question. I still struggle today sometimes to describe what BeCollaboration is. I usually start with something like, well, it's not networking in my mind. I don't go to network. Yeah, I am, of course I am networking, because any relationship that you develop,
they're going to talk,
it's networking. I think the best way to describe it is, you know how perhaps you go to the cinema to get away from things, watch the film, which effectively puts you in some sort of level of trance and gets your feelings out, and you think about, well, it gives you the ability to get away from life and really feel those feelings. Well, for me, BeColl is paying to experience a real life environment where you get to experience those sort of feelings, but from really the questions that are asked and from shared experiences with others, without the embarrassment that you're wrong, because it's all about who you are, and you can't get being who you are wrong.
On that note, thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Jackie?
Right, we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, everyone. You've been very patient. Thank you. Jackie Perkins.
That's me.
So I've known Jackie for
21 years.
21 years.
Sorry, did you say that?
21 years.
Hang on, just me pinch myself.
Do you want that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to work it out.
Okay.
There we go, got it.
So you were one of those people that was hearing the idea of putting great people in a room, sharing ideas from the early days, from even before even before foreplay. Because by the time I was speaking to Baiju about it, it was kind of getting formed. But
Yeah.
Thank you for being part of that journey, and thank you for being here. So how did it occur to you at the time?
Which bit?
The beginning.
Well, everything that people have said about why they're here and the ability to be ourselves is probably why I stayed connected to you. Because coming out of quite a traumatic period of having children and having to adjust my lifestyle to that and health issues that came with it, I needed to get back into action. And the club that you had running at the time was the one privilege, the luxury, if you like, that I let myself have, because I didn't want to network for business, but I had to get back out into action, and it had to be somewhere where I could be me. And there was nowhere else that I knew of. So that's how we stayed connected. And then you started to present this idea as it started forming, and each week, each month you'd come back with a little bit more of it. And in a similar way to a couple of other people have said, it didn't always make complete sense, but getting the energy of it, there was something there that was going to change the world. And the moment that really clicked for me was when you'd been talking to a coach that was part of another organisation, and you came away and you said, they didn't get it. They think I need to be part of their organisation. They don't realise their organisation needs to be part of ours. And that was the point where I got the size and the scale and the potential of where this could be and what it could be doing. And so I've not been around all the time, but one of the things that's been great is through that journey you've been there consistently, steadily growing, and again that core that you set out in the beginning, that Gill aligned to, that you've supported each other in holding on to when the ship got rocky, when there were no passengers, when there was no agreement, when everybody was saying go back, do something different, do it this way, no you can't do it that way, you've got to do it this way. You kept that core solid, which has meant for me that I can come back in when I can. You know, I can't claim to come in from Darlington every week, but I've still had or every month, or every, but I've still had a reasonable journey, and the disruption of having to organise my life around coming actually is as much as anything. So it's just that consistency, but also the growth, and to see people blossom and grow. And some of the people who are now your accomplices, I remember them, a couple of them in the first meetings, and they were quietly sat in the background, not really saying, the growth in those people has been phenomenal.
Can't shut them up now.
And on one level, I wonder, what have I missed by not being along it? But I've also been able to recognise that sometimes you've just got to let the ships pass and join back in when you can. So it's been just a real privilege to be able to know the roots, to have been around at the roots, and then to see that growth. It's like watching someone else who's close to you, watching their children grow and develop, and to still have a connection into that. And I'm now coming back in, and
we've seen more of you lately.
You have seen more of me lately. So I've made 3 meetings. This is probably the 4th this year, so nothing major. But actually, in the last week, I probably had 4 conversations.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about you and Alistair specifically is that you've supported it from afar, even when you've not been physically there, and that means a huge amount to myself and Gill, just to know that you're rooting for the organisation, you're supporting it. I'm going to round up, guys. I've got 2-minute warning, so this will take less than. Oh, Gill. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank
Do you want this, Jill?
Do you want to stand up, young man? We're still in the frame. So, we've written a book. I've written a book. He's not disagreed with it. That's good news.
And if I did, it wouldn't matter, would it?
This is true. So I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. It's so lovely to see so many people here. old friends and new. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already got your copy of your book, Scott's standing at the back of the room. You can go and grab one from him. If you'd like me to sign it, I will wander over there and put my little moniker on it as well. Apparently, if you want to sell it on eBay, you probably don't want my signature on it. I don't know. But also the bar will be open if you want to carry on networking, because that's what we can do if you want to. Go and grab yourself another drink over at the bar, and we'll carry on chatting until they kick us out, basically. Thank you so much for coming. It's been lovely to have you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.